A country controls what it can produce. Everything else is available by permission. America already possesses much of the mineral wealth required for greater industrial independence. The deposits are waiting. The engineers know where many of them are. The strategic need is plain. The question is whether the American government can still make a decision before necessity makes one for it. That distinction matters because a mineral deposit contributes nothing to national power while it remains underground. It may appear on a government survey. Politicians may include it in speeches. Investors may place a theoretical value upon it. Until somebody receives permission to excavate the ore, the deposit remains a colored shape on a geological map. China understands this. The United States prefers paperwork. American leaders now describe critical minerals as a national security concern. The phrase appears in defense documents and industrial policy speeches. Yet the same political order that declares these materials indispensable can subject a proposed mine to years of uncertainty. The problem goes deeper than environmental review itself. Mines should face serious scrutiny because a badly managed project can damage water supplies and leave communities with an expensive ruin. A competent state would examine the project, impose clear standards, issue a decision, and enforce the decision. The American system often does something stranger. It disperses authority across agencies while allowing procedural conflict to continue without a firm end. The mine becomes trapped in administrative twilight. Nobody quite approves it. Nobody quite kills it. Investors spend money to preserve the possibility that the government may eventually finish thinking. The ore waits patiently. Geology has mastered the long game. This arrangement might be tolerable if critical minerals were ordinary commercial goods. They are not. They enter technologies upon which American military power depends. When domestic production fails, those supply chains extend into foreign jurisdictions. The United States then becomes dependent upon governments whose interests may diverge from its own. That dependence is sometimes dismissed because minerals can be purchased on global markets. During ordinary commerce, this is true. American firms place orders. Foreign processors fulfill them. Ships arrive. Production continues. A geopolitical crisis changes the calculation. An adversarial government may restrict exports. A regional conflict may interrupt transportation. A foreign supplier may reserve production for its own military industry. The market cannot guarantee delivery when the state controlling the material has decided that political leverage is worth more than commercial revenue. At that moment, the domestic deposit acquires a different meaning. It stops being a speculative asset and becomes a measure of lost time. A mine cannot be summoned into existence after a crisis begins. Engineers must characterize the deposit. The project needs financing. Workers must be trained. Processing facilities must be built. The entire undertaking moves according to the stubborn tempo of physical construction. National security planners understand that weapons require lead time. Mineral production deserves the same treatment. The material precedes the weapon. Without the material, the production schedule becomes fiction wearing a government badge. Yet America often plans backward. It funds the advanced system before securing the physical inputs required to manufacture it. The government announces a program. Contractors begin designing the finished product. Somewhere beneath the polished presentation lies an assumption that the necessary minerals will remain available. That assumption is foreign policy disguised as procurement. Consider a domestic mineral project located on federal land. The deposit may have clear strategic value. The developer may have spent years gathering technical data. Even then, the project can encounter overlapping reviews and litigation risk. A change of administration may alter the political mood before the process ends. Capital notices uncertainty. Mining requires large commitments before revenue begins. Investors must believe that a project reaching the end of the review process will receive a durable decision. When the process has no credible endpoint, uncertainty becomes part of the cost. Some projects survive, others become too expensive to pursue. The mineral remains underground, while American manufacturers continue buying processed material abroad. This outcome is often presented as the verdict of the market. It is really the product of political design. The market cannot price a permit whose arrival remains subject to administrative weather. America then congratulates itself for having high standards, while importing materials from places where extraction may cause greater damage. The pollution has been moved beyond the camera frame. The strategic dependence remains at home. This is moral outsourcing with a customs form attached. A serious mineral policy would begin by distinguishing environmental protection from administrative paralysis. They are different things. Clear rules can protect communities. Endless ambiguity protects nobody. It gives opponents repeated opportunities to delay a project without requiring the government to make a final judgment. A capable state must be able to say yes under enforceable conditions. It must also be able to say no when a project presents unacceptable harm. The present weakness lies in the refusal to decide. Decision is the beginning of sovereignty. The United States once understood that industrial independence required command over physical production. That understanding faded during the age of global supply chains. Minerals became another input that could be purchased from the cheapest supplier. The hidden assumption was that commerce would remain politically neutral. A foreign processor would continue selling because selling remained profitable. China never accepted that separation between commerce and state power. Beijing developed mineral processing capacity as part of a larger industrial strategy. The resulting position gives China leverage over downstream production far beyond the mine itself. America's answer cannot consist of locating deposits and issuing grants. A deposit must become a mine. The mine must connect to domestic processing. Otherwise, the United States will excavate ore only to send it abroad for the stage that creates usable industrial material. Mining without processing produces a thin form of independence. The rock leaves American soil. Strategic control leaves with it. This is why permitting reform must extend beyond faster paperwork. The country needs a coherent national objective. A project should be evaluated partly according to the strategic role of the material it would produce. That does not require approving every proposal. It requires recognizing that refusing domestic extraction also carries consequences. Every blocked mine transfers demand somewhere else. Every prolonged delay extends dependence. Every abandoned project strengthens the bargaining position of an existing supplier. There is no neutral decision. Critics of domestic mining often speak as though mineral demand can disappear through moral preference. Yet modern defense systems remain material objects. They require metals with particular properties. A speech cannot substitute for them. Neither can a consultant's diagram, though Washington has repeatedly attempted this form of alchemy. The choice concerns where extraction occurs and who controls the resulting supply. A nation willing to defend itself must accept the physical burden of its own power. It must tolerate mines under strict rules. It must build processing facilities. It must train workers who understand metallurgy. Technological sovereignty carries dirt beneath its fingernails. This burden should be treated as a national duty rather than an unfortunate exception to a service economy. A mine supporting American industry is part of the foundation beneath military independence. The alternative is dependence upon foreign capacity. Dependence remains comfortable until the supplier uses it. By then, the missing mine cannot be built quickly enough to answer the immediate threat. Years of delay arrive all at once as strategic weakness. The United States does not suffer from a total absence of minerals. It suffers from a political culture that wants the finished technology while treating the extraction behind it as somebody else's dirty business. That arrangement cannot survive a serious contest between great powers. A country controls what it can produce. Everything else is available by permission. America already possesses much of the mineral wealth required for greater industrial independence. The deposits are waiting. The engineers know where many of them are. The strategic need is plain. The question is whether the American government can still make a decision before necessity makes one for it.